Does Airbnb work in small markets? The answer to that, yes. I was able to build a 7-figure business in less than 2 years in a small market, and I wanna show you exactly how I did that. So most of you, when you want to start a short-term rental or an Airbnb business, you think about the biggest metropolitan that's near you or the biggest vacation area that's near you. Let me tell you why this doesn't always work out. Sometimes it does, but most of the time when you go into those big areas, there's going to be competition. There's going to be a lot more neighbor complaints, which means more likelihood for regulations starting to come about. There's probably even already regulations in those areas that you have to try to work around. So for that reason, I actually like the small to medium-sized markets over the big markets, and I want to tell you exactly what I've been able to do in my small markets and how they've been successful. So most of you, when you start in short-term rentals, you think to yourself, hey, where would be a really cool place to do Airbnb? And you hear about places like the Smokies and Galveston and Hawaii, and you're like, oh yeah, those are really cool places to go. That would be a great Airbnb. And you do this based off of a feeling, right? But today, I don't want to talk about any feelings. I want to talk about numbers. I want to talk about what you can actually do if you just look into the data. And I've been able to do some amazing things in smaller markets that, meanwhile, in some of our bigger markets, they're not doing as well. So I want to show you that today, and I also want to point out something. When COVID hit, all of these bigger markets, all these travel markets, the vacation spots, they were hit the hardest. Meanwhile, these small markets that were still attracting families and really the business travelers and the people that had to travel still, they didn't get hit at all or as hard. And so for that reason, it makes your business even more bulletproof. The first thing that I look at is really size does not matter, I'm sorry, but demand does. And I'm gonna make a few references to AirDNA. If we're looking at AirDNA right now, you're seeing rental demand. So rental demand to me needs to be at least a 70. If you're gonna go into a market, you can get by with about a 65. But if I've got a rental demand that's over 70, then I wanna say, okay, this place is actually in demand. People actually wanna come here, it's consistent. And for that reason, I can even look at that on a free version of AirDNA, and I can see, hey, this place is getting enough demand to where I could go in here and I could be one of those properties that is in high demand. Next up, the gross revenue makes absolutely no difference if your expenses are high. So I have a market eval kit, which by the way is only $97. You can get it at fearlesskyle.com right under the Airbnb tab. This is gonna literally teach you how to be able to evaluate a market, how to be able to discover what you're going to make on a nightly basis, and how to see what your expenses are. Too many people are focused on the gross revenue. They're focused on, hey, my property made over $100,000 last year. That's great, but what were the expenses? I don't care about the gross, I care about the net. Let me give you two good examples of this. Take a property that makes $100,000. Let's say for that year that your expenses on that were $80,000. So you had a high rent, you had high utilities, you had high cleaning costs, you had a bunch of things because it's a big property that were really high. And it cost you $20,000 to set it up. So $100,000 minus the $80,000 of expenses is only $20,000 of net profit, but you spent $20,000 to set it up. So you literally made $0 in year one. And because it's probably a bigger place, because it's probably got a lot going on there, it was probably a lot of headache. Meanwhile, you've got another property that, let's say, does $60,000. The cost for that year was only $30,000, and it only cost you $10,000 to set up. $60,000 minus $30,000 minus the $10,000 of setup means that you netted $20,000 in year one and probably had a lot less headache because it's likely a smaller property or in a smaller market. And that's another thing that I really want to point out to you. When you get into these bigger markets, these high vacation areas, you get a different clientele. They're usually needing a lot more. They're asking for that extra amenity, or they're asking for that extra customer service. Whereas in these small markets that might be a little bit more business driven, they're not always as high maintenance. So we talked a little bit about AirDNA and my market eval kit and how you can evaluate that property. We've talked about some numbers, but now we need to get a little bit away from the data of the numbers and get more into the data of why people even want to go to that location. And I'll give you a good example. I'm in Fresno, California. Everyone's like, oh yeah, I can see why Fresno might work because people want to go to Yosemite, right? No, that is not the reason people come into Fresno. They come into Fresno because we have about 5 or 6 hospitals in the area. So we have tons of medical professionals, we have tons of nurses. We have a hub here in Fresno that people literally will come in and work from Fresno while they're doing remote work in LA or San Francisco, and so they want to use Fresno as their hub to be able to stay in. And so there's a lot of these different things. There's weddings, there's funerals, there's so many different reasons why people come to Fresno. And I knew about this because I did some research before getting into this market and trying to understand why people would want to come. How did I do that research? Well, a little bit of looking it up online, what's in Fresno, but I'm from the area, so I really knew. But also just hosting people. Literally, if you only have a small place, if you want to start out with one unit, if you want to start out with a room out of your house, start hosting on Airbnb, and you will start to be able to gather that data of who is actually coming into town, why they want to come into town. Take that information and apply it to all the properties that you're going to start adding. If you find out that, hey, we have a giant need for nurses, maybe you don't want to get those 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom houses. Maybe you want to get the 1-bedroom, the 2-bedroom, the studio, so that you can house nurses with an affordable rate and make more money than you're spending. So really what I'm getting at is getting to know your avatar. And if you can get to know your avatar so well, this is the kind of results that you can have. I want to give you 3 examples of properties that have killed it recently for us and why they've killed it. So this first one that you're seeing on the screen, typically in Fresno, a 3-bedroom, 3-bath is going to do right around $45,000 to $50,000 in an entire year. This property has done $52,000 in just 6 months. Why? Look at this backyard. We got the fire pit, we got the playhouse, we got the pool, we've got the swing set. This is a distinguishing factor for what? Families. Families want to come here. They want to spend time together. They want to have a barbecue. That's what we know about our avatar. Especially this other property that I'm showing you right now. This is month 1 of this property. It's done almost $6,000 in month 1. A pretty average property like this is only going to do about $4,500 to $5,000. Again, because of the pool, because it's an outdoor experience for the families to come in and have a great time during the summer. So we know this about our avatar, and now we're applying this to each property that we're going for. We want pools. We want to have that opportunity for these guests to have that family experience. Here's another special one. This is a cabin that I actually own. In its first 3 months, it's done about $37,000. So roughly about $12,000-ish per month. This is a property that's in Bass Lake, California. We have other properties that are in Bass Lake that have very similar specs that only did about $8,000 last month. So what's the difference? Why is this one doing about $12,000 per month versus the other ones? It's got a few distinguishing factors that we have learned we have to have in this area if we want the best rates. It needs to have a lake view and it needs to have a boat slip. If it has both of those things, we know it's going to perform extremely well. So if you learn that about your avatar, now we can take that information and we can start to do something with it and build a portfolio of high-performing properties. Notice how in both those markets I said nothing about there being big attractions or big sporting events or anything like that. We just were able to figure out why someone wants to go there and what would bring them to our property versus the neighbors. So as we wrap up this video, I really want to encourage you to do a few things. Look at those secondary, smaller, medium-sized markets. Don't write them off. Take a look. Get that market eval kit so you can decide what market actually is defined as a small or a medium market and how to be able to decide if that's a good place to go into. Again, that's at fearlesskyle.com under the Airbnb tab. And then just make the decision to start hosting so that you can start collecting that information from your guests and seeing what exactly they need so you can start to maximize your efforts in a small market.